I would like introverts to know and understand that just be confident in who you are and realize that being quote unquote quiet is not a weakness. It's a strength. You're an awesome person, and introverts, we are strong thinkers and able to see things that other people cannot see. And that's one of our strengths, and that's something you should embrace.
Hello, and welcome to the Quiet and Strong podcast, especially for introverts. I'm your host, David Hall, and the creator of quietandstrong.com. This is a weekly podcast dedicated to understanding the strengths and needs of introverts. Introversion is not something to fix, but to be embraced. Normally, we'll air each episode on a Monday. Be sure to subscribe on your favorite platform. Today, our guest is Jerra Latrice Mitchell. Jerra is an author, speaker, and founder of Unfertilized Eggs. Jerra is a natural introvert who believes in speaking up about important causes. Jerra is the founder of Unfertilized Eggs, a company that serves both child-free and childless women. She understands that womanhood and motherhood do not have to be synonymous. Jerra can relate to being child-free by choice and childless by circumstance. And in the near future, she's releasing a line of 90-day journals to support these specific groups of women. We will discuss today how Jerra has learned to embrace her introverted strengths for success in many endeavors.
All right. I'm very excited to have our guest, Jerra Latrice Mitchell. And Jerra, welcome.
Thank you so much for having me.
Okay. I connected with Jerra on LinkedIn, and she's written some great articles on introversion. And we're going to get into that, the things that she's involved with, and how she's learned to embrace her introversion to really find her voice for those things that are very important to her. And so we'll get going on that. So Jerra, tell us, when did you figure out you were an introvert?
I always knew that I was quote unquote quiet when I was in middle school, high school, but I didn't quite learn what the term introversion meant until I was, older in age. I say when I went to college, I first heard the term, but I didn't quite knew what it meant. But later on in the years, as I started working, I would hear it more often. That's when I thought to research it, and I learned what the word introversion meant, and I embraced it. It's just, who I am.
All right. So what does it mean to you?
Reserved, speaking when I feel as though there's something passionate to speak about, not just mindless babbling, saying what I need to say and just leaving it at that. Also introversion, what I discovered too, we're very, introverts are very creative. We are deep thinkers, and we're pretty awesome people in my opinion.
Exactly. And so, yeah, there's a lot of great strengths that come from being a deep thinker. But as you said, you're not talking nonstop, and there's nothing wrong with that. But you're putting together your most important thoughts and sharing those. And as we'll get in through this podcast today, you've learned to really have your voice when things are important to you. But again, not necessarily talking nonstop.
Mhm.
So being creative and being a deep thinker, what are some other strengths that you've found as an introvert?
So people have always confided in me. I noticed that when I was in middle school, actually, people kind of tell me things freely, sometimes without even asking me. And oftentimes they tell me, a lot of personal things. Even now in my adult life, I find that we're, very trustworthy as well, in addition to being deep thinkers and creative, very trustworthy and just able to relate to people and also understand people as well.
Okay. So you found that a gift to understand people as part of your introversion.
Oh yeah, absolutely.
Okay. So you've definitely been involved in a lot of entrepreneurial type endeavors. How have you brought your strengths as an introvert into those different things that you've done?
So yeah, I mean, being creative, just able to think outside the box and notice when there is a certain void that needs to be filled. With this current project I'm working on now that we'll discuss a little later, I'm just able to, again, just dive in and, do things kind of my way without overthinking too much. Sometimes I overthink, but, as an introvert, I guess that's one of our characteristics. But yeah, just being able to, I guess, kind of observe and notice where we need to serve. That's where, I found my strength as an introvert.
Awesome. Yeah, I'm an overthinker myself. Have you
Yeah.
come up with any ways to combat that, being an overthinker?
Oh, Lord. Some days I do overthink, I will admit that. So, I'm not perfect, but those days where I just find myself telling myself that I need to stop overthinking, I just try to get out of my own head and get the work done, step by step, little by little, until it's done.
Definitely. So the Quiet and Strong podcast, it's all about embracing our introversion, honoring our needs, and of course, busting myths. So do you have any myths that you want to bust about introversion?
Yes, people perceive us as being quiet when actually we're not quiet. We know how to speak up, and we know how to, of course, talk. We may not be overly talkative, but we're definitely not quiet or weird. I've heard that too. But yeah, just get to know us. Like I said before, we're pretty awesome people. If you just if people will stop judging and just speak to us.
Yeah, give it a chance, right?
Exactly. Yeah.
Okay. Any other big ones?
Those are the two that come to mind right now. Yeah, just the whole weirdness and quiet, label.
Okay. So how did you learn to speak up as an introvert? I know you do speaking, you're on YouTube, we're doing this podcast today. How did you learn to speak up?
Yeah, so me, naturally, I love a challenge. So I have a strong background in working in higher ed. My last job that I had where, before everything switched over to us working virtually, I worked on the committee for the graduation ceremonies, and I volunteered to give a speech. What speech was that? During the commencement, it was the very last speech, the closing remarks. So I volunteered to give the closing remarks speech to, it was over 500 people. I told myself, I'll do it for free to kind of get my feet wet so that I can experience, one day speaking in front of an audience that I'll, be paid for. So I just, again, just challenge myself and just, do the unexpected. So I, found my voice or my confidence as a speaker just by literally volunteering, at my old job.
Very nice. So 500 people, how did you prepare for that?
Oh Lord, a lot of deep breaths. I also, consulted with a speaker that had a lot of experience speaking to, large crowds, and they gave me some advice. But I got plenty of rest that night. I didn't overthink that morning. I took the speaker's advice, looked a few people in the eye as I, got on stage. Took a deep breath, and I read the speech. And next thing I knew, it was over with. It took less than 3 minutes.
Okay.
So,
all right.
Yeah, it wasn't bad at all.
Okay. And I think sometimes that's what it takes, is looking for opportunities where maybe it could be a stretch at first, but as you tell yourself, hey, this is I can do this,
Yeah.
and
Okay.
it really, I don't say get out of your comfort zone. I say change it. So if if an introvert's nervous about speaking, it's not that they're going to get out, but they're going to prepare because that's a key for us as introverts preparing, but
Yes.
then doing it, but telling us, hey, this isn't bad if I do the right preparation. This isn't scary, right?
Exactly.
Although you might still be scared from time to time, but I think you can really eliminate that. So you've spoken to some other audiences?
Yes, I've spoken on panels. I am an author as well. So I wrote a book back in 2017. So I was on some panel discussions, done some podcasts before. And yeah, so I guess you can say I've spoken on various platforms, to various audience types, small audiences, virtual, of course, large crowds. So yeah.
Okay. Any other advice for introverts for preparing for speeches and things?
Yeah, so first and foremost, just get outside of your own head. Don't think negatively about it. And tell yourself, if certain people can do this, so can you. I mentioned before, we are strong observers, so definitely observe how they, give their speeches and then implement some of their strategies into yours. Ask a lot of questions and just, dive right in.
Sounds great. So has writing enhanced your strengths as an introvert?
Most definitely, because a lot of times I hold a lot of things in, my feelings and things that I may be going through that I don't want to, talk about. Because even though I mentioned that people confide in me, personally, I don't confide in a lot of people. So that's why I take to writing to do that. And it helps me to, organize my thoughts and to, process things better instead of holding certain emotions in. Yeah.
Yeah, and I think that's key. We have some amazing thoughts. If people could only see into our heads, right? We have some
Yeah.
amazing thoughts as introverts, but
Mhm.
sometimes if we've never spoken it or written it, it might be a little tough to get out the first time. And
Yeah.
I've been blogging for a few years now and speaking on introversion, and I know just articulating those things, it just makes it so much clearer. So writing is really helpful. And I think that leads into, tell us about your journaling project that's coming out.
Yes. So earlier this year, I founded a company called Unfertilized Eggs, and it's to speak specifically to women who either don't want children or cannot have children, because I fall into both categories, so I can relate and empathize with them. So I am releasing a 90-day journal for child-free women that's going to be released February 2022 to help women to let them know that they have that support, to let them know that it's okay if you don't want children. Because oftentimes we are ostracized about that, criticized, or ignored about our choice to remain child free. And later on throughout the months, or maybe in 2023, I will release some products for childless women, and those are the women that cannot have children by circumstance, not by choice.
Okay. And so for this particular endeavor that you're very passionate about, how does journaling help?
Yeah, so it helps with those the pushback we receive as women, that can kind of, I guess, build up over the years. Me speaking personally, that's what I've experienced. And I wish I would have had something like this to help me process my emotions and, in this arena. So, yeah, this will help them to, I guess, also to build that confidence to proudly announce that they don't want children. Because a lot of women, myself included, I used to feel the need to be silent about, not talking about how I didn't want children, because people would again ostracize me or criticize me and tell me that I'm going to be old and lonely, which is not the case. So yeah, it'll help them with that as well.
Okay, very nice. And yeah, so help process your emotions, help process your thoughts, gain
Mm-hmm.
confidence. Those are
Yeah.
big. Um, I haven't been a journaler. Maybe I'll start, but I could see that, working for introverts in general, whether this cause is important to them or they're going through a struggle like this or anything. Because again, it lets you process those thoughts that are in your head. Again, sometimes very rich thoughts. It helps you articulate what those are so that you can express those. But I like how you said it also can really give you confidence.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I wish I had the confidence I have now. I wish I had years ago. Yeah, but
Hey, that's why we're talking, right? We want to help others gain their understand and embrace their introverted needs and honor or embrace their strengths and honor their needs. And
yes.
find that voice like you have for the things that are really important to you, and for yourself and also just the others that you're helping.
Yeah, so true.
Okay. All right, so that 90-day journal will be out soon.
Yes, February 2022.
The name Quiet and Strong kind of came from the fact that I was in a workshop. Maybe some have heard this story before, and I thought I was talking plenty. It was on strengths. It was like a 3-day deal, and at the end of it, the person said, in a complimentary way, "You're quiet and strong." Meaning that I was just kind of like what we've been talking about, that we share the most important things. And I took that as a compliment, and hence the name of the podcast and the website.
Yeah.
And I think it is true that, people need to understand that we are sharing what's most important. And I kind of say too, if you do encounter someone that's kind of quiet, when they do speak, listen to them, because they probably have something really important to say.
Exactly. Yeah. And when I saw the name of your podcast, it really resonated with me because I was able to relate to it because, people label me as quiet. But once I, talk about things that, I'm passionate about, it's like, oh, you really have a strong, opinion on this or a strong voice. So, yeah, it definitely makes sense.
Yeah, yeah. And I think one of your LinkedIn articles was that, it's kind of like what not to say to an introvert. We don't want to be told, "Why are you so quiet?" and things similar to that. We're going to speak. And when I use quiet, it just means that I am thinking a lot. And it's funny, like it's relative. Like I might think I'm talking so much and someone else is like, "Oh, why are you being so quiet?" So it's kind of funny that way.
Yeah, and for me, not only am I an introvert, but I have a naturally soft voice too. So that kind of adds to the comments that they make. And like, you're really quiet. Well, why don't you speak up? Like, I don't know how to speak up. I have a naturally soft voice. What do you want me to do? Yell or something? I'm not gonna do that. But yeah.
Oh, and you shouldn't need to.
Mm-hmm. Yep.
So in the spirit of being quiet and strong, Jerra, what's that big piece of wisdom that you want for introverts to know?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I would like introverts to know and understand that, just be confident in who you are, and realize that being quote unquote quiet is not a weakness, it's a strength. You're an awesome person, and introverts, we are, strong thinkers and able to see things that other people cannot see. And that's one of our strengths, and that's something you should, embrace.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, it's so many strengths, and again, we have a lot of myths to dispel and bust, but that's why we're talking.
Yeah.
So, is there anything else that we didn't talk about on the podcast that you want to bring up?
Um, well, currently I'm going through this phase in my life where I am selling my home and moving across country from Atlanta to Arizona. I never visited there before. I've only seen it in my dreams. I've done a lot of research about Arizona. My friends, they feel as though I need to be on the West Coast because of my personality and the fact that I love being outdoors and warm weather, and I love hiking. So, as an introvert, I'm making a pretty bold move by doing this. I have no family out there, but I have some sorority sisters. I'm just gonna get to know people, and I have a a couple of job offers. So it's like everything's lining up. The home selling process is going really well for me. So yeah, that's kind of what I wanted to share right now because it's what I'm going through in this present moment, and I'm excited about this journey in my life.
Very good, very good. And I think you hit on another point about us introverts is we are good researchers. So
Yeah.
even though you haven't been here, you are good at researching. And sometimes we don't like the unfamiliar, but we can research and prepare like
Yeah.
crazy. So best of luck in your move. As you know, I'm in Arizona and I love it. The weather right now is very nice.
I
So
know. I
good
have it
luck
on.
to you in your move.
Thank you so much. I appreciate that.
All right. So it has been a pleasure talking with you, Jerra. How can people get to know you better and what you're working on, your work with introverts and also unfertilized eggs?
Yes. So I'm most active on Instagram. So on Instagram, they can find me at Unfertilized Eggs. And then my website, www.unfertilizedeggs.com. And I have my contact information is on my website. So
Okay. It's been a pleasure speaking with you. And
thank you.
again, keep up writing about introverts and how we can be successful and how people can understand the differences and the strengths.
Yes, absolutely. Will do.
All right. Thank you.
All right. You're welcome. It's been a pleasure.
Thank you so much for joining me today. I look forward to further connecting with you. Reach out at david@quietandstrong.com. Check out the website, quietandstrong.com. I'll add social media channels for me and my guests to the show notes. Please comment on social media posts. Send me topics or guests you'd like to see on the show. There's so many great things about being an introvert, and so we need those to be understood. Get to know your introverted strengths and needs and be strong.